you got this great piece about the pros and cons for the death penalty. This was great that you pulled up. So,
which we should say came from, it says at the top, I think it's procon.com.
Procon.org. And so one of the pros, for example, is they're dead. Proponents of the death penalty being legal. Okay, just give me a break. Proponents of the death penalty being legal argue that such a harsh penalty is needed for criminals who've committed the worst crimes, that the punishment deters crime, and that the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld the death penalty as constitutional. Okay. Con. Yeah. And then we'll talk about it. Right. Con. Opponents of the death penalty, being legal, argue that the punishment is cruel and unusual, thus unconstitutional, that innocent people are put to death for crimes they did not commit, and the penalty is disproportionately applied to people of color.
An interesting point.
Not just people of color.
One of the reasons that they stopped in states that have the death penalty stopped actually going through with it for a while was because they botched them so bad with some of these executions that it was just like brutal and way beyond cruel and unusual.
They were only half electrocuted.
And they were using the wrong... No. It was like the chemical injections or whatever, lethal injections. And they got the mixtures wrong, and they didn't actually successfully kill the people for a long time, but they didn't stop trying kind of thing. I was like, it was brutal. So,
But think about... Let's pause for just 1 second on that. You can't even f***ing kill somebody properly in a death penalty.
But they have euthanasia.
But that's something different. Let's not talk about that. But,
that's true.
But this is a great example of how there have been these cases in the United States where they've botched the execution.
Really badly.
And it's caused undue harm. And it's like, just think about this as a state-sanctioned action. This is your government doing this, and they get it wrong, and it tortures the individual, and people may not give a f***. But that's what I mean. It's the cruelty of the state power. It's overreach. It's too much power in the hands of government, not just because they f*** it up sometimes, but because it's morally wrong. Or am I just out on a limb?
No, I
Iran might disagree.
You know,
we can't assume that all of the wrongful convictions are caught prior to the death penalty being enacted.
No. Absolutely not. You're absolutely correct.
That's one of the justifications, is just like, oh, the legal system works because we've had wrongful convictions identified and reversed. And so therefore the justice system is perfectly good on making sure we don't kill innocent people.
But think about that. Somebody's on death row for a decade with multiple appeals through that circuitous system they have in the United States. What is the crushing psychological component of that on that individual? And then what's the reparations?
Well, some people would say they don't care because they believe that the person's guilty and properly convicted, so they don't care how much psychological torture they're going through.
But if they're innocent, and let's say DNA exonerates them, okay? There's a sample at the crime scene of the homicide, and this person eventually is found not to be the person whose DNA is put there. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? And this is not a joke. It happened in the United States and still continues to be an issue.
Still continues, yeah.
And how do you deal with that? How do you justify this? Putting that psychological torture on a human being who's f***ing innocent. And you said something,
and hearing people
really bright.
Brutally put to death in a very botched execution, and they're all on death row listening to the screams and all the other
But you said something really bright about how the concept is that it's better to kill one innocent person than to let a bunch of guilty people go free.
He would then go kill more innocent people than win.
So let's sacrifice innocent people.
Right, that's the attitude. It's okay.
Where was this from? This was one of her comments?
This was a comment actually on this website. Because
me.
Yeah.
Right, well, you know, think about...
I get bleeped, right? I can do that. Okay.